Today, we're going to learn how to knit the 2x2 left-leaning cable on your circular knitting machine. Cast on 15 stitches with waste yarn and knit about 10 rows. Switch to main color and knit 12 rows. This is an 8 rows cable repeat. We will work on the cable twist on the 8th row. Place stitch markers on the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th stitch, 3rd row down from the white pin. Use 4 markers into different colors. We now need to drop the 4 marked stitches. The markers will hold them in place and they will not drop all the way down. Crank slowly and take note not to drop any of the stitches on the right side. I said this earlier, make sure to not drop any stitches. Pull the loop to the back of the 2 tiny legs. This normally happens as we crank back and forth when we remove the marked stitches. Loosen the 4 horizontal bars one by one. Clip the pair of stitch markers on your left-hand side to the back of your work. Now use a crochet hook and place it under the last bar and into the inner right-hand side marked stitch. You can transfer the stitch markers to the next set of stitches one by one as you remove them. Skip one column and mark the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th stitch. Bring the stitch on the crochet hook up starting with the 4th bar. Third bar. Second bar. First bar. Place the loop onto the 4th empty pin on your left. Remove slack from the bars by pulling on them one by one. Lift the yarn up and pull gently to your right. Place hook under the 4th bar and into the outer right stitch. Remove the marker and transfer it to the 10th stitch. Pick the stitch up to the next empty pin on your left. 4th bar. 3rd bar. 2nd bar. 1st bar. Onto the pin. Pull gently on each yarn to remove slack. Select the outer left stitch marker and clip the inner one to the back of your work. Place hook under the 4th bar and into the outer left stitch. Transfer stitch marker to the 11th pin. Pick the stitch up to the next empty pin on your right. 4th bar. 3rd bar. 2nd bar. 1st bar. Loop it onto the empty pin. Remove slack from the yarn bars. Place hook under the last bar and into the last stitch. Remove and transfer the stitch marker to the 12th pin. Pick up the last stitch to the last empty pin. 4th bar. 3rd bar. 2nd bar. 1st bar and onto the empty pin. Place the working yarn back and knit the 4 worked stitches slowly. We now repeat the same process for the next set of 4 stitches. First, release stitch 9, 10, 11, and 12 from the pins. Again, be careful not to drop any of the stitches on your right-hand side. Release the 4 loose yarn one by one. Clip the stitch markers on the left-hand side and keep them at the back of your work. We'll now hook the stitches back up onto the pins. Place hook under the 4th bar and into the inner right-hand side stitch. Remove the stitch marker. Hook the stitch up starting with the 4th bar. 3rd bar. 2nd bar. 1st bar. Loop the stitch onto the first empty pin on your left. Remove slack. Next is to bring the outer right-hand side stitch to the next empty pin. Fourth bar. Third bar. Second bar. First bar. Remove slack. Select the outer left-hand side stitch to bring up to the next empty pin. Clip the other stitch marker to the back of your work. Fourth bar. Third bar. Second bar. First bar. Bring the last stitch up to the empty pin. Remove slack. Now bring the last stitch up to the empty pin. Fourth bar. Third bar. Second bar. First bar. Knit the 4 stitches of the cable and also the last 3 remaining stitches. Knit 7 more rows ending on the right-hand side of the panel. Mark the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th stitch, 3rd row down from the pin. We will now work ribbing on the 3rd, 8th, and 13th column on this row. Drop the 3rd stitch all the way down to the bottommost stitch. Work the ribbing back up with the crochet hook. Continue to work the 2nd repeat of the 1st set of cables. Release the 4 stitches. Loosen the yarn bars. Clip the pair of stitch markers on the left-hand side to the back of your work. Start the cable twist with the inner right stitch. Remove the stitch marker and transfer them to the next set of cable one by one. Bring inner right stitch up to the left empty pin. Remove slack. Bring outer right stitch up to the next empty pin. Transfer stitch marker to the left. Remove slack. Bring outer left up to the empty pin. Clip inner left stitch to the back of your work. Transfer stitch marker to the left side. Remove slack. Transfer the last stitch marker to the left side and bring the stitch up to the final empty pin. done. Knit the 4 cable stitches and drop the 8th stitch to form the ribbing for that column. Release the next set of 4 stitches. Do make sure to not drop any of the knitted stitches on your right. Loosen up the yarn bars. Clip the pair of stitch markers on your left to the back of your work. Remove stitch marker and bring the inner right stitch up to the first empty pin on your left. Remove slack. Bring the outer right stitch up to the next empty pin. Remove slack. Bring outer left stitch up to the next empty pin. Remove slack. Now bring the last stitch up to the final empty pin. Knit the 4 cable stitches. Drop the 13th stitch to form the ribbing again. Finish knitting this row. Knit 7 more rows ending on your right. You can continue to work more cable repeats every 8 rows. On the final repeat, knit 3 rows and work the 3 ribbing columns on the 4th row before you cast off. You can now apply this beautiful cable design to your projects. Do subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell for the next video update. Thank you for watching.